Hello again. We're going to see this topic, this vocabulary. Rather quickly, but I'm going to put a presentation on Canva just to for us to understand a little bit better the vocabulary that we're going to see here. Just give me a second to open it up. Alright, here it is. Air travel, preference, and work. And first I'd like to ask all of you, have you ever traveled in an airplane?
Never.
Never? Never? Well, okay, me neither. But I have friends who have traveled very continually, they almost travel every now and then, but they travel every 2 or 3 weeks, so they really know their way around the airports and things. But I'm guessing that you know the basic concept of like the airports, right? Like the check-ins, the waiting rooms, etc., etc. First, we're going to see the landing, which is the final part of the flight, where the airplane or light aircraft makes the contact with the ground. It usually is going down like this in the angle of 45 degrees, right? And then we have the opposite, that is the takeoff, the first part of the flight, where the plane takes off, as it said, from the ground and ventures in the air thanks to the turbines that are in here. As you can see, both of these use the angle of 45 degrees. You can see in here, it's the same. And then we have the terminal. This is the place or building where everyone waits for their turn to get into the airplane. And a little bit of a fun fact, many airports have their terminals very far away from each other because they almost always have the different type of clients waiting in there. So for example, I don't know if you ever heard about the first class, business class, economy class. Well, there are different terminals for different type of class in the same airport. So you have to be like really careful when looking for these terminals. Then we have the carry-on bag, or as we know, la maleta de mano, basically. This one is usually, as it said in there, a backpack, a hand purse, or a bag that we take with us inside the airplane, or suitcases that are designed for travel in the airplane cabin. Okay? Usually, well, it's a little bit of a mistake, but it has to say like 10 to 15 kilograms. That is the weight limit for these carry-on bags. And then, then we have the boarding pass. That is the document that is shown before the boarding. That this contains all the data reviewed at the check-in and shows everything about the flight, like our seat, our name, and where are we going and where are we from. Like you can see here, this person is going from I don't know what, Sao Paulo. And she is flying to the JFK airport in New York. And we can see here that her name is Renata Rojas. And as it said in here, it can be both physical or digital, okay? Then we have the security check, that this is the part that almost everyone hates when flying, because they have to take everything off of them and then put it through the responsible people for checking that you don't have anything illegal. It can be from weapons to substance or even some things that are not allowed in an airport. For example, the perfumes, those are not allowed in any plane. I don't know why. As it's saying also here, some inspections are carried without prior notice. For example, they can stop you before boarding the plane and they can ask you to check you again. Then we have the aisle. And as you can see here, the S is silent. You don't pronounce it like Isley or aisles. It's aisle without S. And this one is the space between the rows of the seats in the airplane. And this is like a common knowledge, but almost all of the aisles in every plane are way too small for us to pass. We always have to go like from side to side, like in the bus or in metro. Like we have to be very tight to just pass between each aisle. And then we have the economy class, as I said before. These one are the cheapest planes or the cheapest seat that we can find in any place. Most of the people in all their life usually travel in this kind of class. Then we have the upgrade, or saying like that, is business class. This is a slightly better adjustment from the seats before, and it's also a little bit more expensive than the economy. Many people also, or most of us, will travel in this class once in a while or twice. And then we have the first class. The first class is the most expensive, and the most expensive tickets in all the plane. This one is usually where the rich people travel, and most people only travel in this class once in their lives, or many people never travel in this, okay? And that will be all for the vocabulary. Now I'm going to give the now we're going to see here again. We see the landing, takeoff, terminal, carry on, the boarding pass, security, an aisle, economy class, business, and first class. You can see here, these are like the summarized version of what I just said. And now we're going to pass with Mary to see the grammar of these very same things. Okay.
Well, inside the grammar we have that we are going to learn to make comparisons between things and ideas, to use them to talk about preferences, and to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of something. These are divided between two structures. First, we go with the statements. In each statement, we can use two different phrases. The first type are the noun phrases, which are this group of words that act as a noun. For example, that terminal. Then we have inside the structure a verb, which could be is. We have an optional word if you want to make this like an affirmation or a negative sentence. Because the terminal is less, jump right to the comparative, less, more crowded. Then this word works as a linking between all the sentence, and another noun phrase will be the final noun phrase, the other terminals. So as I said, it could be an affirmation. That terminal is less crowded or more crowded than the other terminals. It will be a negative sentence. That terminal is not less or is not more crowded than the other terminals. And the other type of statements, we have the use of a gerund phrase, which is this noun that begins with a gerund. The gerund, remember, that are all those words that end in ing. For example, sitting on the asile is better words than sitting next to the window. As you can see, both of them begin with a noun or a gerund and must always end with a noun or a gerund. We cannot mix them. I cannot say that terminal is less crowded than sitting. No, it has to be, if you did it with a noun, ends with a noun. Then we have other type of structures in here, which are with the questions. It just have more like a switch in the structure, in the position of the words. For example, the verb is goes at the beginning. Then we have the phrase, then if you're going to use a noun or a gerund phrase. And we have is that terminal, the comparative, less or more crowded. Then we keep the comparative and then together. Then we have the final noun phrase, the other terminals, and we add the interrogation sign. As you can see, we can talk about preferences because we can either do an affirmation or a negative sentence, we like or we don't like, or something about a thing. But we can also ask to our person. We also have a little thing about the comparatives. You have to take into account that there are three types of comparatives. We have some comparatives that we use the word less or more before the adjective or word that you're going to be using to compare. We have words with irregular forms that can be used to compare. We have also more regular terms, like the ones with ER. And there are some little rules that you have to think about because, for example, less, more, I usually use it with longer words. For example, intelligent is composed of 3 syllables. And because this has this quantity, we usually use less more for the word. We have another rule with the ER words, which is usually used in 1 syllable words. Or with 1 syllable plus a structure of consonant, vowel, consonant. For example, fat. And the rule with this is that you must double the consonant final to say R. We also have the ones with 2 syllables. And those that end with the letter Y. You must change this to an I. For example, happy will be happier. We keep the AR, but we add an I. And I think this all the times, all the rules in this case. So if you have a word longer than 3 syllables, you add less and more. That's why we have in the comparative less, more, crowded. If you have 1 syllable, you add only ER. And if you have the only syllable with a consonant, vowel, consonant, you add the AR plus a double T, or depending of the letter that goes before. 2 syllables ending with Y, you add an I, and the same term, just with an I. So the example says, the terminal is not less more crowded than other terminals. We have less more because there are 3. Better words are regular forms. In this case, you have to search the word because they don't follow any of the rules I have written there. So it's better you to search, make sure that the word you're using is not irregular because it's probably not going to follow those rules. And now let's go to practice in page 143.
Now we have the first exercise that says complete each conversation with the correct comparative forms of the adjective in parentheses. More than one answer may be possible, you have to use these words that are in here. For example, as it said in there, friendly turned out to be friendlier than the crew of my last flight. What does this mean? Example, ¿te gustó o te cayeron bien los que estuvieron contigo en el avión? Y pues sí, aquí la persona nos dice que sí, fueron más amistosos que la tripulación del vuelo pasado. Then we have to do this very same thing with the other 5 examples. For example, do you prefer takeoff or landing? To me, takeoff is scary, landing. We have to see the comparative that is more scary or what? Less. Or the opposite. Now there we have the two options that you could have written. Less scary than landing, or scarier than landing. Both of these show whether you prefer or don't the landing, okay? Now number 3, are you going to fly business class? No, I'm flying economic. It's what? Less expensive. Less expensive, okay? That. Right, then number 4, how is your seat? I think this seat is much comfortable than that one, or which would be the opposite of comfortable? Less, exactly. Then number 5, are you going to get your boarding pass at the airport? No. Printing it at home is much easier than getting it at the airport. And then last one, is taking a taxi to the airport fast? What? One word more. Faster than taking the bus, exactly. Now you see how we have to add the ER when applying it for something that is more, and then we have to, like, with the word we have to leave it like that, but add the word less and then also than, because the word than is showing us the comparative thing between the two sentences that are not put together, just like that. And
that works to link the whole sentence.
Yeah, is used to link both sentences or the whole sentences as well. Then we're going to see the exercise B. Complete the conversation with the correct form of the adjective from the box. Now you see, for example, in the first part, it says that the travel agent asked, how would you prefer to travel? And Jim said, I prefer to travel by train. I've heard that it is cheaper than flying or taking the bus. He chose the word cheap, but we have to change the word so it can fit in our sentence. Now you have to do the same thing with the next 5. Okay? And you're going to have 5 minutes to do it. Okay? You can start now. Okay? Now we're gonna check the answers. What would you put on the number 2? What? I think the change will be what? More expensive than the bus, correct? More expensive. Then, number 3. Let's worry about transportation later. Let's concentrate on what you like to do because brainstorming is much what? More useful, correct, than arguing. Now the next one. You're right. I like to do what?
More relaxing.
More relaxing. More relaxing activities like getting a traditional massage. Next one. But isn't traveling around what? More what? Funnier. Yeah, it could be.
Well,
Well, it actually is fun.
we actually use more fun because the word fun is like an expression adjective. So we always keep it like more fun. We don't say funnier. This is an expression.
Funny means humorous.
Yeah.
It's an exception.
It's an exception. Yeah, there are many exceptions
Yeah, that's true.
actually. I just try to give you like the general rules, which is more common with regular adjectives. Well, like I said, there are irregular forms. There are things that are part of the language. For example, more fun. So, but is it traveling around more fun?
Yeah, because when we are saying more fun, it's like we are enjoying the thing that we are doing. But when you say funnier, it's something that is making you laugh or something that is funny when you are looking at it or when you are experiencing it. As it said Miriam and Teacher David, it's kind of a special word when we are using these form in comparison with the gerund and the noun phrases. And then next one and last one. How about Indonesia? There are plenty of opportunities for adventure and the beaches are beautiful. It is also much closer than a lot of other countries. Exactly. Perfect, very good. And then we have the last one, that is make it personal. We are going to write again sentences comparing traveling with friends and traveling alone. You'll have to use the very same structure that we have been seeing in this session. For example, in here we have traveling with friends is more fun than traveling alone. You can use this very same structure to say something or any idea that you have. For example, traveling with friends is more or is safer than traveling alone. Okay? Bless you. Bless you. Okay, now who wants to come up in front and write an answer? Victims or volunteers? Okay, traveling alone is more relaxing than traveling with friends. Exactly, thank you. Anyone else wants to come up in front? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Going with my parents is, I think it will be more boring.
More boring? Thank you. More boring than
You left, if you begin with a gerund, the other must be also a gerund. Yeah, the gerund phrase, the noun. Going with my parents is more boring than going.
with mine. Yes.
More boring than.
Yeah, remember that if we begin with a noun phrase or a gerund phrase, it must end with another noun phrase or another gerund phrase.
Okay.
More boring than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last one, who wants to come up in front? Anyone else? Perfect. Thank you very much. And yes, as you can see, all we have to do in here is using the ing and the comparative word than to link both sentences. For example, traveling alone is more what? Relaxing than just traveling with friends. And also traveling with my friends is cheaper, meaning that we have to spend less money than traveling by myself. And that will be all for us. I don't know if you have any doubts or something like that. No? Well, and thank you very much. And I don't know if teacher Lovey has something to say.
Okay, I think, well, that's all. Let's, time is over. Sorry that, the
Ah.
time was a bit limited for your
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, it's okay.